Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Youthman. Last week, Monoprice sent me their brand new Monolith M215 subwoofer. Now this subwoofer is a beast. It's a monster of a subwoofer. It has two 15-inch drivers and a 2000 watt continuous amplifier. I did an unboxing and an overview video of the subwoofer. You can check that video out right up here in the card above, as well as in the description below. Now I also created a second video on the subwoofer, and that one's called I'm Mad at Monoprice. And if you don't know what that video is about and you want to check that out, I'll leave a link to it right up here, as well as in the description below. So in this video, I want to share with you some measurements that I took using REW, which is Room EQ Wizard, in 4 different modes. Now before we jump into the video, if you're into home theater, audio, and video, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that bell notification so that you'll be notified when the next video drops. All right, so the M215 is a ported subwoofer by design, but Monolith has also included a foam insert that allows you to put it inside the port to seal it up. And so in this video, I want to share with you 4 measurements that I took. I took a measurement with it ported, and then on the back of the amp plate, there's a toggle switch for THX mode, and the other option is extended mode. And so I want to show you results from the M215 in ported THX mode. We'll do a measurement in ported extended mode. Then we'll seal up the unit and we'll measure it in THX and extended mode as well. And so I just want to share with you what those physically do to the subwoofer. And so with that said, let's go ahead and jump into REW. All right, here we are inside of Room EQ Wizard, which is the software that we'll be using along with the Mini DSP UMIC 1 microphone to be able to take measurements of the subwoofer. Now I've already turned off the Monolith X11 amplifier that is powering all 11 of my speakers. And so that way the only test tones will be sending to the subwoofer itself and no other speakers. The next thing we want to do is go into the setup menu of the receiver. Now in my setup, I have the Marantz AV7705 Pre-Pro. And so we're going to go into setup, come down to audio, come down to Odyssey, and we're going to make sure all of Odyssey settings are turned off. The reason we turn Odyssey off is because we don't want any of the Odyssey settings in conjunction with the measurements that we're going to take. And so you can see here, I have multi-EQ turned off. We've got dynamic EQ off, dynamic volume, Odyssey, all of that is turned off. And now we'll go ahead and exit out of the setup menu. Okay, so here we are inside of Room EQ Wizard, and in here I took 4 measurements that I'll share with you. The first measurement that I took was the M215 with it ported, and on the back of the plate amp I chose extended mode. So we'll go ahead and turn that on. So what you're seeing here is what we call a frequency response. So in REW, I told it to measure from 10 Hertz, which is all the way over here, and it's going to continue to play different frequencies all the way up to 200 Hertz. Now over here at the far right, you can see it only measures, or at least only shows, up to 100 Hertz. That's because I've told it up here in limits to only show up to 100 Hertz. I could increase this and you would be able to see that graph change, but the reality is with a subwoofer, you're only really concerned down to about 80 Hertz. And so I go ahead and allow it to show up to 100 Hertz because in your AVR or in your Pre-Pro, you're typically going to set a crossover for the subwoofer at 80 Hertz, maybe 70 or 60. So we're not really concerned with anything above 80 Hertz. And so basically what REW does in a very few amount of time, basically like 10 seconds, it will graph SPL measures or volume for each one of these frequencies. So for example, if I click here at 20 Hertz, so roughly about right there, so down here you can see it's 20 Hertz, this subwoofer, let me do that again. If I click right here, this subwoofer was able to output 99.9 decibels. So basically it was right at about 100 dB in volume. But you can see over here at 30 Hertz, we had a lot more output. So if I click right here, at 30 Hertz roughly, we were at about 107 decibels. And so basically what we want to do is I want to show you how the different modes on the subwoofer affect the performance. And so again, so this is the M215 in ported extended. So then the second measurement I took was the 215 in ported, but I switched the toggle switch on the back of the plate amp to THX. And so we'll go ahead and turn that on. So what you can see here is from about 30 Hertz above, we pretty much had the same exact output. Okay, those are pretty much almost identical lines. Where you start to see some difference is below 30 Hertz. So below 30 Hertz, the 215 in THX mode is going to output less volume or less SPL than if you were to have it in extended mode, which is this blue line right here. And so the difference, so let's just say about right here. So at 15 Hertz, 15.71 Hertz, we produced 97.8 decibels in THX ported mode, but in extended mode, we output about 105.9 decibels. So we basically have about 10 decibels more volume in my room in extended mode than I did in THX mode. So that's the difference between ported using THX, which is this red line, and extended, which is this blue line. So we'll go ahead and just click off of here to get that out of the way. So the next thing I did was I sealed up the enclosure using the foam insert, and I switched the toggle back to extended mode. So now we're going to be looking at sealed extended, and so I'll go ahead and turn that on. So basically what we can see here, let's go back to that 30 Hertz. You can see at about 30 Hertz, we had a little bit less volume basically. So if I click right about here, so over here we had 104.4 decibels at 30 Hertz. That was in sealed mode extended, but in ported extended, we had 106.9, so almost 107. It's about 3 decibels increase. So it's not a huge difference, but you can see overall, the yellow line is lower in volume from 30 Hertz all the way up to 80 Hertz than either one of the other ported modes. Okay, so then let's look right down here. Where it begins to differ even more though is from about, if I click here, that's 21 Hertz. From 21 Hertz down to 10 Hertz, we see we got a considerable amount more of output in those lower frequencies in sealed extended than we did in the ported THX mode, you can see right here. Okay, so again, blue line is ported extended, the yellow line is sealed extended, and then the red line is ported THX. And so then I took one other measurement, so we'll click out of there, and we'll go ahead and turn on this little green one down here. So this is going to be sealed THX. So again, on the back of the sub amp, on the plate amp, I changed it from extended to THX, and we made sure that the front of the port was sealed, and we'll go ahead and turn that on. And so here you can see, for the most part, at 30 Hertz all the way up to 80 Hertz, it performed basically the same volume as the sealed extended, but where it differs is down here. We got less output from 30 Hertz all the way down to 10 Hertz than any of the other 3 modes. So one thing I really love about using REW is you can physically see on a graph what is happening at certain frequencies when you change certain settings on your subwoofer. Say for instance, from going from sealed to ported or extended to THX. But unless you have something like REW with a calibrated microphone like the UMIK1, you're not going to know exactly what those different modes do in your room, how they perform. I mean, you can seal it and you can unseal it and kind of listen to maybe a song or a movie demo, but really you're not going to get a great picture, an overall picture of how that subwoofer is performing. So I love working with REW. I'm still pretty new at it, but what I've learned, I really, really like. Now, if you're interested in the Monolith M215, I'll post a link to it down in the description below so you can check that out. I'll also be producing several other videos on the M215, so be sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you like Monolith products, be sure to check out this playlist right here. And as always, you guys be blessed, and we'll catch you in the next video.